Welcome back to another episode of Modular Wild. I am Raul. Today we're going to be going a little bit further with the Megawave. We're going to be looking at Bank 8 specifically, taking a look at some of the interesting waveforms that are in this bank. Just to give you a little bit of background, if you don't have the reference of the Miniwave manual handy, just what this bank is specifically for or what it's all about. It actually has 16 samples from a Votrax SC01 voter chip. It actually helps provide vocalization and vowel sounds that you can use with voltage control in your modular system. If you use a sequencer, you can kind of get a talking synth kind of effect, which we'll hear in a little bit. And it's also similar to pseudo vocoding. So we're going to be looking at just some of the basic waveforms. If you happen to be looking at the manual as I am, you'll see that there's only about 5 waveforms that are sort of traced in the manual. So we'll just look at the kind of the key ones and then go into a little audio demonstration of those waveforms. So without further ado, I already have some of it patched up. As you can see, I'm kind of sitting with the output over here going to my scope, but you can see there's no activity at my scope over there. So what I need is to get my saw wave from my oscillator over here into there. So let me get the saw wave and patch it in. There we go. And that's going out to our mixer. So you should actually be hearing, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, both waveforms and make sure. Actually, you're just hearing one of them. Let me patch my second waveform so you can hear the vocoder sound. So there's the vocoder sound. And if you look at the scope, that's what we got right there. We happen to be on patch 4, so let me dial it down. And I'll just let you have a listen. So on bank 0, or sorry, on patch 0 or waveform 0, that's probably an E sound. So if we look at our scope, the shape doesn't really represent what's in the manual, so let me bring up the pitch a little bit maybe. So we can see it a little bit better right there. So that's our waveform 0. Let's jump to waveform number 4. So waveform 4 should be our E sound, or EH. And there you can see at the scope, kind of the shape there. I'm going to adjust my pitch just a little bit. So that's kind of waveform 4 right there. And if you have the manual handy, you can see that the shape is very similar to what we have in the manual. Let's take a listen to waveform 10. Right there. This is supposed to be the O sound. So if you look at the scope, that's what it's supposed to be looking like. Let's go to waveform 11. This is supposed to be an sound, ER. And then if we move all the way to 15, that's supposed to be our OO sound, or OO sound. Okay? So now the obvious thing is if you do manual manipulation, you can get kind of this. But obviously this would be much cooler if we could do a little bit of voltage control. So let's get some of that going, and then we'll have a little bit of fun with it. So up here at the top, I have a sequencer sort of standing by. So let's use a little bit of that first. And for this, I'm just going to patch my CV out over here. And let's see, do I want to do my quantizer? Yeah, let's do our quantizer. So let me take this cable out actually. And just use this shorter cable. Go from my CV out of my sequencer over here into the CV input of my quantizer. That's just sort of making it play within a given scale. Right now I happen to have it in minor. And then I'm going to patch out from the CV out and then patch this into our VCO over here. Let's have a listen. Bring the pitch down a little bit. Now I have my sequencer playing sort of randomly. Let me do it just a standard sequencer. So you can create nice little kind of pseudo vocal melody lines. And of course, adjust the patch. And you can find your own favorite patch if you want. Or if you want to combine the two, you could kind of shift through the different waveforms by using a low frequency oscillator, such as the anti-oscillator over here. So we'll just patch the triangle wave into our wave in. Or if I wanted to use the same CVs that I was using for my notes, I could patch out from there. These are going to be unquantized though. You can see it kind of jumping to certain numbers repeatedly. So if I bring this to a different patch, let me bring it a little bit lower, just so you can kind of hear it in a lower octave. So you can get a lot of nice, deep, throaty sounds with this. And then, of course, just one other modulation possibility. Let me unpatch the sequencer. Let's try the noise ring over here. And let's try output number 1. These are random voltages, remember, if you haven't watched the video on the noise ring. Now it's a little bit out of sync as far as like time-wise, like the clock of my noise ring is independent from the sort of sequencer clock, but if I wanted to kind of keep them on a common clock, I could always take the clock out of the noise ring over here and then patch it up into my sequencer. And then that way I have both under the same clock control. That way they sort of synchronize a little bit more. So let me unpatch this for a moment. And so if you're into formant sounds, or vocoder sounds for that matter, or you just kind of like kind of nice, kind of harsh and harmonic types of effects, this bank can be very quickly one of your favorites, because it's kind of become one of my favorites too. Kind of close to, I guess, Bank 0 or number 1 are kind of my 3 favorite ones so far as we've been going through this series. But this is quickly becoming one of my favorites, as I was saying. At any rate, that's going to actually do it for the demo. I wanted to keep it short and just kind of give you a little demo on how this particular bank sounds. In the next video, we're going to be going through bank number 9. Bank number 9, for those of you who have not read forward a little bit, is actually going to have some morphs of a single cycle sine wave. So we'll see if we can come up with some kind of interesting demo for that, just so you can kind of hear that. Hopefully you found this series useful, and hopefully it provides you some kind of resource. If you've never heard the Miniwave or the Megawave in general, this kind of gives you an opportunity to just kind of get a general idea as to how it works and what you can actually do with it within a modular system. So I want to thank everyone for watching. If you have any suggestions, input, comments, please leave them on the video page, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.